Affairs Association. Greetings from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, home of the United States Army Civil Affairs and Psychological Operations Command Airborne. We represent 12,000 soldiers and civilians conducting global civil affairs, psychological operations, and information operations, where any given day of the year we have more than 300 soldiers outside the continental United States. I wish I was there with you to participate in the annual meeting of the association. I think it's great that y'all can be together. I think it's great that I've got members of my team there with you. And what I want to talk to you about today is just to give you an update on what the command is doing in the civil affairs space. I want to talk about the strategy, vision, and what I see for the future of USACAPOC. So first, it's more than 8,000 civil affairs soldiers that are supporting every geographic combatant commander and Army service component commander in the military. We do this right now various ways. And we're busy. So from a training perspective, we did 17 CTC rotations in FY18, and we have the same number in FY19. 3 CPXFs, 5 warfighter exercises, 5 named exercises we've supported, and 54 overseas deployment training missions. We also support 17 enduring missions in Germany, across Eastern Europe, in the CENTCOM area of operations, JTF, Horn of Africa, Niger, Cameroon, and Central America. All of these have us really busy. So what are the challenges and threats to the command? So for one, we're just now learning what multi-domain operations is all about. And we're learning what it means to operate within the information environment. I believe that's going to be critical to our future. Manning the force really and truly is my #1 focus area. The command presently is manned at 93.4%, which means we have a challenge of having enough of the right people in the right places to support all the missions, exercise, and training requirements. What does that mean for the future? Well, really what it means for the future is we've got to expend the effort to get people through professional military education, to make sure that they're promoted so that we've got enough of the right people in the right places in the future. Now, the demands of the ready force, training, vice, mission support is something that commanders have to balance each and every day. We have to go to a CTC. We've got to do that because we've got to learn what it means to fight in large-scale ground combat operations again. That's important. At the same time, we have to be out doing missions and ODTs, but we have to leverage all of those as a way to evaluate our training. Our legacy and tribal culture presents a little bit of a challenge sometimes. So USACAPOC is no longer part of Army Special Operations Command. Rather, it provides almost 100% of the conventional Army's civil affairs support and is involved in competition worldwide each and every day. We have increasingly obsolete capabilities. Now, don't run out of here saying that's a piece of equipment. Don't run out of here and say that, hey, they said they couldn't do their job. We can still do our job. I said that they are increasingly obsolete capabilities. I think really it comes down to using new language. I like the language that's in FM 3-57. I think civil reconnaissance means something to maneuver commanders. I think civil engagement is a core task that we've done for years, but it's in a term that people understand. So I believe if we continue to do though, if we recognize what the threats are, we'll also see that there are opportunities. And that's really what the strategic plan is all about. So first, the vision that's outlined there is merely this: best people, best mission, bright future, harnessing our collective influence. I think that takes us into the future. We have 4 lines of effort in USACAPOC. Soldier readiness is number 1, and indeed the most important one until we get our manning straight. Combat readiness is really all about how we start to operate with those that we support going into the future. Organization readiness is something that I believe we had to look at, making sure that the headquarters itself and our down echelon structure is ready for the future. Now, we've already taken some steps. So on October the 1st, 1st Training Brigade moved from being a direct reporting unit to USACAPOC to now it is a direct reporting unit to the 350th Civil Affairs Command. We're looking at airborne operations. I want to have an airborne capability rather than an airborne program. We're going to be doing some alignment changes in the coming year that make sure that we're supporting the national defense strategy and being better aligned against Russia and China from a civil affairs standpoint. Now, the final line of effort is Senior Mission Command, and that really gets at what's our operational approach. So our operational approach is focused on harnessing collective influence, both internal and external to the command. And so I believe this is really important as we go into the future. It's how we organize our people. It's how we train our people to be more entrepreneurial in the future. And indeed, it's what will get us and take us into the future. Now, we're sort of doing that right now with 5 excursions to test this idea of collective influence. The first one, Project Nexus, is really an information operations focused effort. But it's how do we do military intelligence in support of the information environment. Some of that may touch on civil affairs and psychological operations in the future. Cyber Blitz 2019 just concluded, sponsored by the Army Cyber Center of Excellence and DEVCOM C5 ISR Center. And you may say, so how does that touch civil affairs? Well, information operations synchronizes the effects of civil affairs and psychological operations in the information environment. And they found that they needed both civil affairs and psychological operations to help layer effects in that information environment. And I would tell you that they learned that they had some capability gaps to do that, and truly believe that civil affairs and psychological operations are critical to understanding whether cyber effects are actually having a cognitive impact on the target. And so what I would tell you is that's really, really important for the future. We're also partnering and collaborating with the Smithsonian Institute to create our 38 Golf or Military Governance Monument Men partnership, where we're going to look to train 38 Golfs for the future. And also, we will be using them and highlighting this in a way to attract officers to be part of this very important project. We're also working with the Army Research Lab and Army Futures Command to better visualize what's going on in mega cities and also the biases of individuals and decision makers that may live there. And finally, in conjunction with the Special Warfare and Center and School, we're taking major steps to incorporate geospatial assets into civil information management. These final two things really get at this idea of developing an entrepreneurial mindset towards experimentation and learning about what civil reconnaissance and civil engagement may look like in the future. In closing, again, the vision: best people, best mission, bright future, harnessing our collective influence. I can't tell you enough about what great soldiers we have in USACAPOC. They really are the best people. The missions that we do around the globe, there are none better in the Army Reserve and maybe in the Army. And our future can be bright if we do this thing called harnessing collective influence. All I can say is, and I'll use this quote, it's attributed to me in the strategy, but there may be some Marines that say they came up with it first, and if so, I give them all the shout outs. But we must become an adaptable, agile learning organization, or we will be replaced by one that is. So while I'm not with you, my Deputy Commanding General, Brigadier General Jeff Coggin, is. The 4 KCOM commanders are there. My Strategic Initiatives Group Director, Colonel Drew Jones, is with you. And my lead for the 38th Golf Excursion, Colonel Scott DeJesse, are all there to answer your questions about any of these initiatives or about how we're harnessing collective influence now or in the future. It's been my honor to lead the soldiers and civilians of USACAPOC the last 2 years. And I intend to finish strong and ensure that civil affairs remains a relevant enabler for the Army and the joint warfighter into the future. Peacemaker 6 out.